Welcome to Faith-Filled Investing, the podcast where faith and real estate intersect. Join host Owen Cooper as he interviews real estate professionals who are also strong believers in Jesus. Get inspired by their stories, discover how they live out their faith in the workplace, and learn practical tips and strategies for successful real estate investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor or exploring alternative ways to grow your wealth, this podcast will motivate, educate, and connect you with like-minded Christians in the real estate industry. Tune in to Faith-Filled Investing and join the movement of faith-driven real estate professionals. Welcome to Faith-Filled Investing. I'm your host, Owen Cooper. This week we'll be hearing from Mitch Jilek to learn about his faith journey, his real estate journey, and how those two have intersected. So, Mitch, great to see you this morning. Welcome. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate the opportunity to be on here.
Yeah. This is always fun for me, but there's people will make connections, and this story maybe is a little bit different. How do we know each other?
Well, I'm sure you, I think you knew me from a very young age.
Yeah.
I believe that you worked with my dad, my uncle, from the time I was, I don't know, 5 or 8 or somewhere in
Yeah.
there till whenever. And it's been great reconnecting recently. And I know you've stayed a part of their lives, and so it's been fun to watch from a distance.
Yeah, it's been. I do remember, working in the day at office days, and you'd come in to visit your dad, and bring lunch or something, and you and your little sister would be just walking around in the office, and really didn't keep well in touch with you. I was at with Troy's cabin one time, and you stopped in to grab some fishing gear. That was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and that was like the last time I'd seen you since then.
Right.
So, and yeah, anyway, so that's been a cool thing. Like, we've known each other for a long time, but really have just gotten reconnected in the last little bit here. So that's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about. I know you've grown up in a Christian home, but for your own personal faith journey, walk with Jesus, what does that look like in your life?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so I had the privilege to go to a Christian university, and I grew up in a Christian home, like you said, and went to a Christian private school growing up for a few years. I really would say I was able to foster my faith and make it my own in high school when I had to make some tough decisions about partying and my friend group and who I wanted to be like. And so really around 17, I made that decision to follow the Lord for myself. And at that time, I started going to Haiti on some mission trips, and that really started to work in my heart. The Lord used that greatly to just show me His Son and what He did on the cross for me. So I would say around 17, I really consciously made that decision, and then college followed. I went to the University of Northwestern in St. Paul here, just a little Bible school, and it was fantastic. Had the great opportunity to richly enhance my faith on a daily basis at that school and be an RA there and get really connected. And I walked away from that experience at Northwestern feeling really equipped to go out into to business and do the real world, but also take my faith with me and make that a part of my everyday living and opportunities that came from that. So that's a little bit about it. And from there, I've just kind of sprungboard into different things and been able to use that experience. So.
Yeah, cool. I'm sure we'll dive into that a little bit. But tell me first, because you mentioned Haiti, there was some kind of significant things that the Lord showed you there. Like, what was it that, I don't know if it was Haiti specifically, but there were the instances there that really kind of brought your faith to life for you?
Yeah, well, I was able to go to Haiti about a dozen times.
Wow.
And one of those trips was for 4 months, and I went by myself. And I think just over the course of those trips, the Lord just used it to pull me away from my world, Mitch's world, and learn more about his people and where his heart is at. So just a great opportunity. Those mission trips were probably way more for me than anybody else, anyone that I was able to serve. So there wasn't one thing in particular. I think it was just taking my eyes off myself and seeing how his people live. And, he's got people all over the world. and
Wow.
they all live very differently, and some have much, and some don't have much, and some have rich faith, and some don't. And uh, yeah, that's what I would say about that experience. Again, I could talk for a long time, but it was really foundational to me being able to again make my faith my own, but also have a heart for others and develop my uh, realization and understanding of my need for Christ.
Wow, that's really cool. And you stumbled upon a great truth. It's kind of shocking that the world doesn't revolve around you. Is that what you're telling me?
It was a hard one. I'm still figuring that one out every day. I've got 4 kids, and that's part of it. I'm learning that with every kid that comes too. So um, it's a truth that I often don't want to hear or think about, but it's
Yeah.
my reality.
Yeah, I've said many times I didn't realize how selfish I was until I got married, and then I didn't realize how selfish I was until I started having kids.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I just everything was for me, and now all of a sudden there's other
Right.
humans in the world that are dependent upon me, and
Right.
it's just I think a little glimpse of the reality that we need to face. Whether we get
Yeah.
married and have kids or not, we have to wake up to that reality at some point. So
Amen. I don't know if we'll catch the Coopers, but we got a little slew of our own.
yeah, you're good. You're halfway there. So you're at the halfway mark. You
Tell
can
my
make
wife that.
it. Yeah, they always have a little bit different opinions than we do about how that works. But
Correct.
yeah, but that's a discussion for another day. So you've grown up. You mentioned grew up in a Christian home, kind of made your faith your own along the way. But in a similar way, I think you also grew up in sort of a real estate home that was kind of surrounded by that. And so, what has your real estate journey looked like in your life?
Yeah, great question. My real estate journey is still shaping, so I'm kind of putting form and legs to it still. But
Yeah.
I grew up watching my dad take a leap into real estate when I was, I'll say, 5 or 6 years old. He left corporate life. We had very little when he left corporate life,
Mm,
and dove into real estate, dove into buying and fixing, and reselling, and then buying and holding, and acting as landlord. And so I watched him acquire properties, rehab properties for my whole childhood, and what came with that was long days and long nights for him, and
yeah.
didn't see my dad a lot until I would say, I don't know, 10, 12. I think you would attest to that as well, and really I saw the work that he was putting in now, and
Hmm.
by still a pretty young age, before I was even in high school, he had amassed a very nice portfolio. And I didn't really realize that until later on, of course. But um, at the same time, I was watching my uncle do similar. And so, yes, it was all around me, but I didn't have the ears to hear or the eyes to see that
Hmm.
until later on. And I'm still learning about what they've done and the deals they've done. And the beauty
They
is
have a
they have
lot
all
of
that
stories.
expertise. Yeah, the beauty is they've got all that expertise that they've been passing on to me on a weekly basis. Every time I
Mm,
interact or call, I pick up a nugget, and so
yeah.
I've been really blessed to have that wisdom, at the dial, at the phone, whenever I want it. So for myself, I dove into real estate about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. I think beginning of 2021. We had just bought a house in 2020, and I was getting pretty stagnant in my W-2 job, and just thought, hey, I want to start building something on the side, and I didn't really know what that looked like. Troy, my uncle, had been really encouraging me to just dive in, and in retrospect, I wish I would have got my license when I turned 18. So when I had dove into real estate about 4 years ago, I had already had a couple investments going on, one with friends, one with my uncle and my dad, they had graciously allowed me to be a part of. And so my money was already working passively in real estate, and I liked how that felt. And so I just thought I'd jump on the diving board and see what happens. So
Wow, that's good. And so what does that look like the last 4 years since you've kind of jumped in more,
oh,
yeah, more fully, I guess we'd say. Yeah, what
yeah.
what does that look like for you, and how has that scene change your life?
Yeah. Well, it's offered not only some financial freedom, but I think just the knowledge to be able to forecast and see what this could be. And I'm still taking shape. I mean, it's still a baby tree, if you will. And it's sprouting in a bunch of different directions. And I'm trying to figure out what direction is going to be kind of the main branch of the tree, the trunk of the tree. Probably not a great analogy, but uh, so I've got my hands in commercial real estate. I've got my hands in residential real estate. I've got my hands in investment. I've got my hands in leasing. I'm kind of all over the place right now, trying to learn everything, which I've learned a ton in the last 4 years. I've done residential deals. I'm in the middle of my first flip on my own, but I've helped with over a dozen investor flips. I've sold commercial properties. I'm leasing commercial properties. I've got restaurants for sale. I've got warehouses for sale. I've got businesses for sale. I'm really kind of all over the place, which I really enjoy. But I'm at that tipping point of I know I need to be an expert in one, and
Mhm.
so I'm still taking shape to that question. But it's again, it's allowed me to forecast. Again, it's allowed me to
Mhm.
forecast and say, hey, what do I want this to be, and how can this bless my family, my kids? How can this be a generational impact?
Mhm.
Right now, for example, I'm looking at an apartment deal where I would put my entire commission into. I'd have a buddy hop in and own some of the building with me, and for almost no money out of my existing pocket, I would be an owner in this apartment building that's completely renovated. And so my question most days and most weeks right now is how can I leverage what I'm doing in the position I have to acquire um, and start building and amassing something that's going to bless uh, others and bless the Lord and bless my opportunities to financially give for the next 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a great perspective. You're asking the right questions, in my opinion. I think that's a really good
Thanks.
thing, and I think that like leads to my next question, actually. Of your faith journey, real estate journey, talked about them. How have you seen them kind of intersect in your life as you've dive more into this real estate world?
Yeah, I love that question. It's something that I'm finding I need to be very intentional on because there are daily opportunities, especially
Hmm.
as I just a quick sidebar. I own another business, another little window cleaning business, and so I'm in a lot of
In case
homes.
in case you don't have something else to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my wife loves being at home, and I'm super thankful she can be, and so that's just an avenue to help us do that. And
Yeah, amen. That's good.
but I'm in a lot of homes already, and so I thought real estate would be a great segue for that reason too. But with that, I just have so many natural conversations. Real estate's on my mind, and keeping the Lord on my mind and asking for opportunities daily is
Mm,
is uh, is a challenging ask because it will delay my day often, but it'll give me so many opportunities.
mm,
I'm thinking of two. Right now, I was in a homeowner's place yesterday, and real estate came up and she was asking about the value of her home, and we started talking about politics, and then one thing led to another, and I was telling her why I believe what I believe. And
wow.
I shared the gospel in a nutshell with her, and
Mm,
now what shape will that take? I don't know, but we've already known each other for 8 years or 10 years,
wow.
and
Mm.
I'll be back to do her windows this fall. So there's things like that happen so often. um, you know, I'm just really blessed to have the opportunity to be on a deeper connection level with so many clients and individuals that I just feel like there's constant opportunities to put a seed here, to sow a seed there, and and the hardest part for me is praying for those opportunities daily, and then
Mhm.
asking the Lord to bless those seeds at the end of each day.
Yeah, yeah. And you touched on this. I think this is a challenge for a lot of Christian people in the business world. Well, there's a number of challenges, but I want to focus on this one. Um, just because your time is super valuable, and these conversations take time. And if you're trying to just, like, pump out appointments, that's not going to happen. So
Right.
how do you, and you mentioned this a little bit, but how do you like prepare yourself or, you know, get yourself ready for those, I'll call them divine interruptions in your schedule?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I have that answered figured out yet. I think I know a few weeks ago I remember asking for grace in that because I was struggling with my time.
Mm,
I feel overcommitted so many days, and I want to keep the main thing the main thing and not forget why I'm here. And so if that's going to require 20 or 30 or 40 or an hour extra, uh, I definitely want to be willing to surrender my desire uh, to that cause and to that seed, if you will. So
mm,
I haven't figured that out, but also it's a mix of creating some adaptation and flexibility in my schedule. So I'm in the midst of bringing on somebody full time in my window cleaning business, and that's to
okay, yeah.
give me more of an opportunity to step back and focus on the business instead of being in the business, and
Yeah.
hopefully, cater to some of those relationships. That's the wrong word, but um, so that's an example. And then I can definitely see an assistant happening this year for real estate and some other things, and
Mm,
so just to take some clerical things away. I'm like you alluded to time, Owen. I'm trying to figure out what my time is worth and how to replace that to bring that time back, and
yeah.
hopefully bless and be generous with that time is the
Hmm.
goal. I haven't figured that part out yet, but
Yeah. Well, it's a lifelong journey, but I think you're asking the right questions and making the right steps of recognizing that sometimes, and I know this is in business and real estate, same thing. Like when you care really well, that's what makes your business prosper, right? You're dealing with your clients and you're giving them the best service available. But if you are the only one doing it, it's really hard to grow and to give everybody the time that you want to. So there's that
right,
balance of, okay, now I have to bring other people onto this team, and
right,
it's got to be people you trust and know and have the same sort of values that you have, so that you can continue to expand and bless more people. But that
right,
transition is difficult, and that's kind of right where you're at.
totally.
So you're on a good path, is what I'm saying. It's a good stuff.
Thanks.
You're doing well.
I needed that
Yeah.
reminder.
Yeah. Well, I think we all do. And just, even you taking the time to be on this podcast and sharing with other people who are listening, like that's good reminders for all of us as we listen to this. It will be good.
Thanks.
So we've life. There's blessings in real estate. You've talked about that. You also talked about even seeing your dad, like the long hours and the hard work and all that sort of thing. So there's both sides of it. Sometimes people just like to talk about the glamorous Lamborghinis and all the millions they can make, but then there's the night long, all night long things, and the deals
Totally.
that you spent 2 months on and made no money and all that kind of stuff. But
Yes.
what sort of challenges have you had to overcome in your real estate journey?
Yeah, I mean, just what you alluded to. It's I'm learning constantly, and it is um maybe it's for everybody, it's for sure for me. It's hard to learn from others' mistakes. Sometimes you just have to experience some of those things on your own.
Yeah.
Um and so yeah, man, the countless hours spent on a deal that doesn't come to fruition, that's really tough. I just
Mm,
got the bad news 2 days ago that a buyer I had been just kind of grooming sounds bad, but basically grooming for this sale. We've been going through financials and talking to banks and sitting down with the seller and seeing the property and going through his stuff and going through offers, easily 40 hours into this deal. And
yeah.
he comes back with hey, I found another opportunity. The contract or the documents for his signing were out to him right then. And so, you're going to have those, and it's how you respond. And I was reminded in my response to him, I'm thinking, do I want to lose this potential client for life? Or do I want to satiate my anger right now? And it would have been easy to reply with, thanks for wasting my time.
Yeah.
And instead I was able to reply with, hey, let me know if I can be of value in the future. If this deal comes
Mm,
back around, I'm here to help type thing. And so there's constant decisions that we're going to have for that. on a pretty much a weekly or monthly basis uh, to either, yeah, there's just going to be a lot of decisions like that. And so it's a hard one to make, and those things are going to happen. Um, I'm learning a lot right now through a flip that I've got nearly done. It should be completed in about 1 week.
Wow.
Don't flip a home that's 40 minutes away from you. A lot of people told me that. I thought I could make it happen by just taking 12 or less trips to this property. That's what my hope was. That's what my goal was. And I haven't tallied my trips. I probably need to go back and do that, but it's a lot closer to triple that. It's a lot closer to 35.
Wow.
And that has not been a good ROI on my time, assuming I get the sales price I think I'm going to get. And so I have to look at that. I get the opportunity to view that, and I've got to view that as an investment on my learning and skill set and knowledge, because it's not going to be a financial benefit like I was hoping it would be. So I'm constantly learning. That's another battle. Working with people, unfortunately, I'm well, not unfortunately, but I've positioned myself to be, remote, dependent upon my abilities, and in much of real estate, you have to rely on another to get the job done or to get the transaction completed or whatever it may be. And so, that has been I'll say a challenge, but an opportunity to extend grace and have grace extended upon you, and also just relate and coexist with somebody else in a transaction. So I guess those are a few examples.
Hi, Owen Cooper here with Rock Solid Investments. Sorry to interrupt this amazing conversation that is going on, but I did want to mention that if you are interested in investing with a trustworthy partner to help grow your wealth with solid opportunities, Rock Solid Investments offers expert guidance and investment options tailored to your goals. Whether you're new to investing or looking to diversify your portfolio, Rock Solid Investments is here to help you build a strong financial future. To learn more or get started, visit rocksolidinvestments.com. That's ROC solidinvestments.com. There you can book a time to talk with me, and we can talk more about what that investing journey could look like for you. So glad you're a part of this podcast, and now let's get back to the conversation. Yeah, well, those are some examples, and you were kind of alluding to that. But how has your faith helped you overcome those challenges, or see your way through those challenges?
Yeah. Man, it's so often I think I'm just a terrible representation and representative of Christ, but he's given me a ton of grace, and I'm super thankful for that. I think I would be a pretty angry person if the Lord wasn't in my life. It would be very easy to blow up at people, and also just try to take advantage. There's a lot of opportunity in real estate to take advantage of others. And so I think the Lord has given me wisdom. He's extended my grace, and he's allowed me to hopefully just extend it towards others. Yeah, I think, again, I think I'd just be a tough person to deal with if I didn't know the Lord. So I know he's walking with me every day and allowing me to be kind and courteous and encouraging in a place where encouragement is often dead, and a place where there's deal sharks everywhere out there, and there's just sharky people out there. And hopefully, I believe he's allowed me to be a kind and hopeful individual throughout that. One that tries to maintain relationships and keep them going, and hopefully looking for these opportunities to continue to plant seeds with clients and people I run into. Yeah. I think, actually that's a good and humbling exercise to think about what your life would be like without Christ. I reflect on that sometimes. Even, the Apostle Paul called himself the worst or the chief of sinners. And he recognized, for him, he was actually killing Christians. He was that was his full-time job, was to go around and kill Christians. And then God got a hold of him. And so it's easy to look back and be like, man, if God was into my life, where would I be? And I think you've used this word many times, but that's where
God's grace, I think, allows to come over us and to work through us when we don't kind of think, oh, why aren't you behaving the way that I should, that I do, or whatever. Well, it's because Jesus is in me and He's working through me, and as you said, we're all a work in progress, and to be able to
Right.
give grace to others, but also to ourselves, that is a key thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I was just reading in Galatians 5 today, and Christ has set us free. Galatians
Yeah.
5:1, for freedom Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. And then he goes on to say, for you were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh,
Mm,
but through love serve one another. And I
yeah.
was reminded that, man, I've got all this freedom in my life, this big open schedule, this opportunity to work here, there, or there in whatever
Yeah.
business. But don't have it be self-serving, and it's easy to
Yeah.
have it be self-serving. So
Yeah. Yeah.
good reminder
That's
for
good.
me this morning.
Good. Amen. Good stuff here. Um, all right. So you have mentioned this. You kind of grew up around the real estate world. So if there's someone who's considering investing in real estate but hasn't started yet, what would you say to them?
Oh man, you got to start. You hear people in real estate say this: the right time to buy a house is when you can buy a house, and there's a lot of truth to that. And even if it's not buying a house, I want to apply that to everything. Like the right time to start is when you have $500, not $50,000, and there's ways, and so network. Uh, when you're doing the exact right thing for these entrepreneurs to give them resources here. But I think also just like don't be afraid to pick up the phone. If you call me, the worst thing I can say is I don't have time right now. That's the worst thing I can tell you.
Right.
Um, and that's the worst thing Owen can tell you or anybody else can tell you. But call somebody who's done a deal, who's flipped a home, who owns an apartment building, who has experience in something you're interested in, and start building your repertoire. Because I'm quickly finding that experience in one thing has a huge monetary value. And while we all want $500,000 to invest and run after a project with, um, we need to start with knowledge and understanding first. And so there's no way you're going to be able to do that unless you jump in. And you don't have to have your real estate license. You don't need to be super smart. Try to jump into a deal where you can earn a percentage. For example, I'm running this flip right now. I'm just kind of acting as GC on it. And I raised a bunch of money for it. I raised about $200,000 for this flip. And those investors agreed to pay out 6%, or I agreed to pay them a flat fee of 6% for their money, whether it took 3 months or 9 months. And I would have taken somebody on if somebody wanted to get involved for $500. I would have taken somebody on, just for the experience. And so now, these investors, if they ask for updates, I'm happy to send them pictures, tell them what's going on, tell them the plan. They'll see all the staging, they'll see all the photos, they'll see the breakdown of cost at the end. They're going to learn about the process, why we did things the way we did. Hey, we needed to move this heat stack here for this reason. There's just a great chance for learning, and it's hard to learn when you're not a part of it. When you don't have a financial stake, it's a little bit harder to learn. So again, start saving even just a little bit and look for an opportunity to get involved. I'll throw myself out there. I'm always happy for a phone call. Some days are busier than others, but I will get back to you and would love to chat about it. I don't have that much to offer, but I'm learning too. And again, you just can't stop learning, as cliche as that sounds.
Yeah, well, I have fully subscribed to that. I think you just gave some great advice, and even to say, I often feel like I'm like I don't know what I have to offer either, but you think about, you have experienced a lot of things that a lot of other people haven't, or you've been around it. You've been around other
Right.
people, right? So, um, like you said, that experience, you can't really replace it, and just being around it, close to it. And I love what you said too. I think a lot of times, in people's minds, you think you have to, take down a whole deal yourself.
Right.
And what I've seen, and you've mentioned this before, but what I've seen in real estate in particular is that it is really a team sport, and it takes other people, and you don't have to have all of the money to be a part of a deal. Even
Right.
if you have a small portion of it, it can get you into the deal and get you going and started, and it can make a big difference.
Totally. Yeah, there's just avenues all over. I mean, for this flip, I was able to avoid a loan on it altogether, and that was the reason I brought in some money. But I could have done it without other people's money.
Yeah.
I
But
just I
it would have
wanted
cost
an
you more.
opportunity. It would have cost me more, but also I looked at it as an opportunity to partner with 5 different people and say, "Hey, let's start this partnership. Let's learn together. Let me add some value to you. Let your money grow passively." And I'm looking at the long-term picture of, well, with one of those guys, I'm about to buy an apartment building. And with another one of those people, I could see doing multiple deals with after this. And so there's just, again, so many avenues. And we can get in this little hallway and limit ourselves and have the blinders on, when the reality is we're standing in an open field. And if you're not looking around, you're not going to see them.
Yeah, yeah, so good. So this, yeah. So you've mentioned earlier that you're in all sorts of different avenues and strategies and things. So, and I think you said you're kind of filling this out, but to date, I'm going to ask it anyway. What's one of your favorite investing strategies?
I feel like I don't have the tools to answer that question yet. Man, I really like my commercial investments. Uh, I get excited about this apartment building. Again, I think about it; it will be totally managed. All the work orders will be completed through the property management. I should really be there just for emergencies and to check in every once in a
Mhm,
while. I love that idea. That to me is about as passive as you can get.
mhm,
My other commercial deal that I'm a part of, it's totally passive for me. Um, it's great. We get rent, I get checks, and I have a write off at the end of the year, and my equity is just growing. So like I'm loving that. I'm finding that any residential stuff is going to be pretty hands on unless you are able to amass a big portfolio and have it managed.
mhm,
But
mhm.
even then, you just have more doors, more properties to worry about, and so I'm liking that. I say that, and I'm about to look at a bigger residential investment. I'm about to look at a 2 lots that I would buy and then subdivide into 4 and build 4,
Mm,
luxury homes, basically $1 million quarter homes,
wow.
um, and then just all for the purpose of reselling them. Uh, so it's all over. Again,
Yeah,
opportunities all over. I don't know. I don't know what excites me the most yet.
yeah,
Ask me that in 5 years, in 2030. Hopefully, I haven't figured out that. I'm
yeah.
pretty gung ho on a business. I want to buy a real estate business combo in the
Okay.
next couple of years. That's a goal.
What kind of business?
Yes. I don't know. I
Yeah,
there's so many boomers exiting the market right now.
yeah,
It's just ripe with opportunity. So many who don't even know how to sell their business, their current infrastructure,
yeah.
and a lot of them have real estate attached to it. So
Right.
either they're going to sell the real estate alone and not get their full value, or they're going to sell them together and they're going to limit their buyer pool.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's a really interesting mix. I want to be just the buyer and just put an operator in place. I
Yeah,
don't want to run anything, but um, I just see opportunity there. So I don't know if it'll be a manufacturing business. I don't know if it'll be a retail business. I don't know a serve. I have no idea,
mhm,
but it's of
mhm.
interest.
Yeah, yeah. That's a beautiful thought.
And there's a ton of. I'm sorry, I'm chiming in here again. There's a ton of seller financed opportunity out there too, because a lot of
Mm,
these businesses are just not saleable otherwise. You got to find somebody who is passionate, qualified, and has the money, which is tough, which is
yeah,
really tough. And so,
yeah,
they're offering these massive ideas and opportunities for seller finance. And, like the one of the 2 businesses I have right now is opportunity for complete seller finance, I believe,
mm,
with the right buyer. And what an opportunity for somebody who doesn't have 250,000 in the bank laying around, which
mhm.
most don't. So again, all this opportunities out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Biz by Sell. Go on Biz by Sell. Check that place out. You'll learn a lot. Just surf Biz by Sell for 2 hours. If you have 2 hours sitting in the airport or wherever, man,
Wow, that sounds like a dangerous place for me.
you'd love it. You'd love it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna be there. So Biz by Sal. That's great. Very cool. So, I think I think we've gotten some good stuff out of here. I'm trying to think, is there just something that you think, man, this would be really helpful for somebody to know? Again, whether they're maybe just starting out or just something like maybe that you've learned that you think, gosh, I wish I known this earlier. Like, a specific kind of nugget or piece of information.
hmm Um, you know, I you probably touched on it. I maybe touched on it a little bit, but surround yourself with the right people.
Mm,
Um, walk with the wise and grow wise. And I don't have so many answers in life and in business. Um, but I'm walking with great, I'll say, mentors in my life, my dad, my uncle, other friends who I look up to, admire. They're doing and are in places that I want to be in. They're faith-filled people. They're following the Lord. Um, they're honest, integrity-filled. Uh, I'm
mhm,
working for a business that the two, the two the broker is, he's a Christian. Just I'm feel like I'm putting myself in a position to be shepherded well, and so I think that's been huge. Do I think my growth financially could have been bigger elsewhere? Um, yes, I do think I could have gone to a more specific, specified commercial brokerage and probably
mhm.
taken off a little bit quicker, done more deals, been a part of more things. Um, but I like the culture. Culture is worth a lot more than I give it credit for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So surround yourself with the right people, and don't be afraid. And I'm preaching to myself here too, but don't be afraid to tug on their shirt. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and so
Mhm.
ask ask for help. Ask
Yeah.
for help. Ask for something here and there, all the time. Be that kind of nag in that way, because that's what's going to excel you forward, propel you forward. So
Mm. Wow. Okay, that's really good. I'm glad I asked that question. I'm glad you put that in there. Again, we've said that, but it's worth just saying it outright in
yeah,
straight. And
yeah,
maybe this conversation is just for you and I, but I do believe other people are going to be blessed by it as well. I
I
think
hope so.
we've gotten a lot of reminders that we needed to hear today,
Yeah,
but
amen.
I think there'll be other people that need to hear it as well.
Amen.
So, as we kind of wrap up here, I always like to have you share something that's not specifically real estate, just in your life in general. It's something that's exciting or interesting going on right now?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. What's exciting and interesting? Well, I've got 4 kids. The
Yeah,
oldest is
young
6.
kids too.
Young kids,
Yeah,
yeah. Oldest is 6, and man,
every
it's
day
just
is an adventure.
it's so fun. What my wife and I were just talking about curriculum for my oldest, Brooks. He is just turned 6. He did a year of homeschool last year. We're doing homeschool right now for several reasons, but a lot of it's for flexibility. And he's
Mhm.
really just geared for it, we believe. And so I'm researching right now courses for him to take this year, and he's going to take another accounting class. A 6-year-old is going to take an accounting
No way.
class.
It's awesome.
He's going to take a class for business, like business structure class, so he can kind of
Wow.
understand how things work. And I've
They
looked at some of
designed
the
those for
content.
6-year-olds, huh?
Yeah, there's so many resources online.
Oh
And
my god.
so, yeah, I mean, in this course, they're going to talk about kind of the flow of personnel and money in a business, and why things work the way they do and how they function. And so I'm just really excited for my kids to watch them grow right now and learn. They're learning so much. It's so interesting. I was just telling my dad this the other day. My kids are learning like this at a curve like this, and him and I are probably learning at a curve like this now, because we're willing to learn less. And so I really want to take advantage of that in my kids' lives,
Mhm.
and allow them to soak it all up. And so it's just really fun being a dad right now.
Yeah.
I hope we get to have one more kid, and we got a hot tub the other day, so the kids are enjoying a hot tub right
Oh
now.
man, yeah, that's great.
So
That's awesome.
that's my
Well,
life.
I That's great. Well, I'll give a shout out to fatherhood too. I love it. It's a lot of fun, and I think the things you talked about. There's all these things that I learned. Actually, I also learned from your uncle a lot of my real estate lessons, and I was like, man, I wish I'd learned them earlier, and then I wish I'd applied them earlier. And even now, I feel like, gosh, I feel like I'm still like on the front edge of the learning curve, and I wish I was super seasoned. But at the same time, I can look at the generation behind me, my children and other people, and I'm telling them, hey, as soon as you can, buy a fourplex. That's what I tell
Yeah.
everyone. I want all my 18-year-olds to buy a fourplex, but
Right.
that's like maximizing your abilities. But anyway, I love your intentionality in thinking about raising up your kids and getting them to think. A lot of it, even talking about these courses, it's like mindset. It's learning to think in a different way. And the reason I was so shocked, like these aren't courses that are in school. You know,
Right.
you're not learning to think like a business owner, learning to think entrepreneurially, learning to think creatively. I
Right.
think that's there's a statement I say to myself every day. I'm a creative thinking problem solver, and I think that's what I've heard you say throughout this conversation. I think part of the reason you're in so many different things is that you have that sort of mentality. Okay, here's a need. How can I meet that need? How can I serve that person? How can I bless that person? Here's a problem. How can I, if I solve that problem, that's actually there's monetary advantage in solving problems if you can figure it out.
Mhm. Right.
Even I don't know the details, but here's two lots. They might be worth something, but what if I turned it into four? And what if I put these houses on it? Now all of a sudden, the lots I bought are worth this much more. If you just look at it like, oh, here's a couple lots, it doesn't mean anything, right? Because you didn't solve any problem. But once you add value to something, it goes a long way. So
Right.
I love the thoughts. Really cool stuff.
Thanks.
Very
Oh,
cool. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. I'm so glad we did it. Thanks. I know we scheduled it like a month or so ago, so I'm glad it worked and we got technology figured out. Um, and we already got you. You're gonna come back at least 5 years from now. You gave me
okay.
permission,
I'd
but
love to come back and give you some updates on these
but
projects. Yeah.
probably even before that, we could we could have another conversation. We
Be
can have
great.
many conversations, but just ones that we let other people listen in on. That's another thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you
Awesome.
for your
Well,
time. It's
thank
been
you for
it's
having
been so
me.
great and love having it.
I appreciate you having me. Thanks, Owen.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Faith Filled Investing with Rock Solid Investments.